It's Nicholas from Gandora Gaming, and we have just got revealed the last of the 3 brand new archetypes coming out of the new DBPR set, that being Killer Toon. Looks like this is a brand new Synchro archetype revealed, which is pretty exciting. The other 2 archetypes look pretty interesting themselves. Of course, we got introduced to the Hecatoncheires first. They're a new fusion illusion archetype that we're getting that revolves around snatch stealing your opponent's monsters. And we are also, of course, getting the new Incline monsters, which are a pendulum flip slash burn archetype. It's really strange, but also really strong. And now we have the new Synchro archetype, which is based around tuner monsters. So, Killer Toon, let's see what these guys got. So, first things first, we have Killer Toon Mix. It's a level 2 Wind Warrior tuner effect monster, 100 attack, 2000 defense. If this card is on the field, will be used as a single material. 1 tuner card in your hand can be used as the other material. You can also use the first and second of this card name once a turn. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add 1 Killer Toon monster from your deck to or graveyard to your hand, except level 2 monsters. So, I mean, you can't add herself back. If this card is sent to graveyard as single material, target 1 monster your opponent controls and destroy it. So, that is pretty solid there. So basically this card's saying, hey, if you use me as synchro material, I'm going to destroy 1 monster your opponent controls. It does target, so do keep that in mind. But it does have a destruction effect, which can help you chain block, which is pretty solid. Not to mention, on normal or special, it adds a Killer Toon monster, which is pretty good. Stratos is always a good monster. Next we have Killer Toon Clip. This is another level 2 Dark Thunder tuner effect monster. 800 attack, 1000 defense. If this card on the field will be used as single material. 1 tuner in your hand can be used as the other material. You can only use the first and second of this card name once a turn. During your opponent's main phase, quick effect. Spell summon this card from your hand. Then immediately after this card resolves, single summon 1 tuner. If this card is sent to the graveyard as single material, you banish 1 random card from your opponent's extra deck face down. So that's pretty interesting itself. So its interruption is that it randomly banishes 1 card out of your opponent's extra deck. Also, during your opponent's turn, a quick synchros with monsters you have on field. But it looks like you can only make synchros that are tuner monsters. So do keep that in mind as well. You can't just make any synchro. It has to be a tuner synchro because it says quick effect spell summon this card for hand, and immediately after this resolves, you can single summon 1 tuner. So I assume it means 1 tuner synchro monster, if that's what it means. And now we have Killer Toon Rico. This is a level 3 Fire Fiend tuner effect monster, 1500 attack, 800 defense. And this card will be used as single material. 1 tuner and its hand can be used as one of the other materials. You can only use the first and second of this card name once a turn. If this card is normal or special summon, add 1 Killer Toon monster from deck to hand or graveyard to hand, except level 3s. And this card is sent to graveyard. Target 1 spell / trap in your opponent's control. Destroy it. Now, I'm not going to lie. I like these cards. However, I am noticing a big issue. All 3 of them are tuner monsters. So, unless the synchros say you can just use tuners, there is no non-tuners in his archetype, which is quite strange. Another thing I'm noticing is that they don't really have any special summoning conditions. Like, none of these guys have the ability to, like, jump onto the field. Like, I guess the second one does, but it's only during your opponent's main phase, which is quite strange. Overall, interesting first 3 cards. Let's see if the extra deck explains this. So next we have Killer Toon Track Maker. This requires a Killer Toon tuner plus 1+ tuners. So I guess this is the monster you're supposed to make with tuners. The level 4 0 attack 200 defense synchro tuner effect monster. And this card is if this card on field will be used as synchro material, 1 tuner in your hand can be used as one of the other materials. You can only use the first and second of this card name once a turn. If this card is supposed to summon, add 1 Killer Toon card from deck to hand. If this card is sent to graveyard as synchro material, return 1 card your opponent controls to the hand. Interesting. So I guess this is how you're supposed to synchro climb up. It's a rota for anything in the archetype because you just add any Killer Toon from deck, which is pretty great. And then when you send this away as synchro material, You can return one card your opponent controls back to hand, which is basically a compulse, which is pretty nice. Of course, I don't actually know how you're supposed to make this guy because he's a level 4. So not even their levels match up. Well, I guess the level 2 and the level 2. I guess that's how you're supposed to make it, and they're both 2s. I guess that's the only way. I guess you're supposed to use Killer Toon Clip with Killer Toon Mix, and that's how you make it, but they're both tuners, and then it's okay because this monster allows you to use a tuner as a non-tuner, I guess. Interesting. Next we have Killer Toon Remix. Dark Warrior Synchro Tuner Effect Monster, level 5. So this is any of the 2s plus the 3. It requires a Killer Toon Mix plus a tuner monsters. They'll use the second effect discard name once a turn. Gains 1500 attack while your opponent has a tuner on their field or in their graveyard. During your opponent's turn, quick effect, tribute this card. Take 2 non-synchro tuners from your graveyard. Add 1 hand name if do spell something ever. Immediately after this resolve, synchro summon 1 tuner monster. So that's pretty interesting. That kind of reminds me of Yummies and how they like tribute a quick effect. They on your opponent's turn they can distribute themselves to spell some of the monsters that were material from grave, and then they can just immediately synchro. This is very yummy feely, which is pretty cool. Then we have Killer Toon Red Seal. This is a Killer Toon Rico plus 1 tuner monster. So this one requires Rico. So do keep that in mind. Requires the level 3. However, it has the ability that it gains 200 attack for each tuner in your graveyard. The level of monsters your opponent controls with 1700 or less attack increased by 1. And then during the main phase, quick effect, banish 1 tuner from your graveyard, target 1 face of monster your opponent controls to get the effects until the end of the turn. So this one is a negate. It only has 1700 attack and 2400 defense. However, it is also a floodgate. If you ever go against like a Ryzeal or something, if their monsters are 1700 or less original attack, their levels are modulated, meaning they won't be able to XYZ summon, which is a pseudo floodgate for synchro decks and of course XYZ decks. They need their levels to be correct in order to do their summonings properly. So this is a pseudo floodgate for them. Now this doesn't do anything to link decks or fusion decks, but it is still a pretty good floodgate. For example, I'm going to look up Ryzeal, and I'm just going to tell you what their stats are and how they would be affected by this card, because this is like the current meta card, right? So images, Ryzeal, and let's see what are the stats of the Ryzeal monsters, because if they're less than 1700, guess what? There will be changing. Ryzeal Yu-Gi-Oh! Let me find you real quick. There you are. So, like, for example, Ice Ryzeal is 1700. Sword Ryzeal is 1500. X Ryzeal is 500. Node Ryzeal is 1400. When this synchro monster is on field, every monster that is Ryzeal will be modulated, so they'll be level 5s. Even Pam Ryzeal, which is the one I don't think anyone plays, they would all be level 5s, floodgating them. The only one that wouldn't be is Star Ryzeal, but it doesn't matter if every other monster on field is modulated to the point they're 5s. You can't make an XYZs, and you're locked out of the extra deck, basically, which is not a bad effect. This is kind of like a win card against lovely Ryzeal, which is kind of crazy. Not to mention, it's a quick effect Omni, because you can just banish a tuner from grave, target 1 face-up card your opponent controls, negates effects until the end of the turn. It's an Omni, because negate anything, which is pretty solid. Next, we have Killer Toon Loudness War. This is a light machine synchro tuner effect monster. Level 6, 0 attack, 3000 defense, 1 tuner plus non-tuner monsters. Tuner plus 1 tuners monster. So I guess there is no non-tuners in this archetype. You'll use the second effect of this card's name once a turn. Other tuners you control can't be destroyed by card effects. Also, your opponent can't target this card with card effects. When your opponent activates a card effect, quick effect, banish 1 tuner monster from your graveyard and apply its effects activated if sent to graveyard as synchro material. So that's pretty interesting. So basically, this is the boss monster, and what it does is that it copies the effect of the synchro sent away effects of all their monsters. So from Killer, what's it called? During a post, no, not that one. So Killer Toon Track Maker, Killer Toon Rico, Killer Toon Clip, and Killer Toon Mix all have effects when they're used as synchro material and sent to graveyard. So this monster has the ability to banish them from grave to copy that effect. So if it banishes Mix over here, it can banish one. I don't know if it banishes Clip, banish one random card from your opponent's extra deck face down. If it banishes Mix, it can target one monster opponent controls, destroy it. If it banishes Rio, it can target one spell and trap your opponent controls, destroy it. If it banishes Killer Toon Track Maker, then it can return one of your opponent's cards they control to the hand. So that's not bad. That's a really cool copy effect. Next, we have a new quick play spell. This is Killer Toon Synchro. This is a quick play spell. Activate 2 cards with this card they want to turn. You can't spell some the rest of the turn except this card resolves, except tuners. Also, add 1 tuner Toon card from deck to hand, except Killer Toon Synchro. Then immediately after this card resolves, synchro summon 1 tuner monster. Interesting card, allows you to basically quick synchro on your opponent's turn, which is pretty solid. Next, you have Joint Killer Toon. This is like the jukebox. It's a field spell. You can only use the third effect of this card name once per turn. During the main phase, you can normal summon 1 tuner in addition to your normal summoner set. That matters because, again, these guys don't really have a way to pop themselves onto the field. They usually synchro from the hand, so you do need another way to normal summon, and this gives you that normal summon. Second effect, Killer Toon Loudness War. You control gains 3300 attack while your opponent has a tuner on their field or in their graveyard. Not great. It relies on your opponent playing tuners. Not every deck plays tuners, and they won't have tuners in grave. That kind of reminds me of the second effect or the first effect of one of the synchros that had said, oh, if your opponent had a when your opponent, I'm trying to find it. I think it's the second one. This card gains 1500 attack while your opponent has a tuner on their field or grave. Yeah, so they rely on your opponent to be a synchro deck, but not every deck is a synchro. Not every deck is going to have a tuner. So, okay, whatever. And then the third effect, you contribute 1 tuner, add to your hand, or specify 1 tuner, Killer Toon monster from your deck. Also can't specify the rest of the turn except tuner monsters. Now that's a pretty powerful effect. The fact you can distribute any tuner in the game to then add or special summon a Killer Toon monster from your deck is a pretty powerful. That's E-Telly every turn. That is not bad. Or more likely, it's more like Lone Fire every turn. Next and finally, we have Killer Toon Playlist. It's a normal trap. You can only activate this second card's name once per turn. Target 1 Killer Toon monster control or engrave. Apply these effects in sequence. Also, you're locked the rest of the turn except tuners. Apply these effects activated if sent to graveyard or synchro material. Return it to the hand. Interesting card. Overall, really cool support. We'll have to see if these guys are mixed with anything good. Recommendation cards that are getting reprints are going to be Flourish Synchron, Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion, Earthbound Prisoner, Stone Sweeper, Synchro Overtake, and more. I will say, I guess this can synchro with the hand traps because they're all like tuners, which is pretty interesting. So we'll just have to see. Overall, really cool archetype, and I'm excited to see what people come up with.